I think more people will join, but let's get started. Today, we're gonna go from that 3,000-foot view of, leadership and all that stuff. We're gonna zoom in and go into more practical stuff. I wanted to talk about the leadership stuff so you know what's possible. If any of you, you know, decides that that's something you want to do, you want to be a leader that with many people under supervision, if that's something you want to do in the future, you know what's possible and you know how to get to a point where you can lead a big team, medium-sized team, or any sort of team. It is, we went through that first three seminars just to say and just to tell you, if you haven't heard it before, that it's possible to become a leader of that size and of that level. I am working on it. That's my plan. And if any of you wants to take on that leadership journey and get to the point where you are in charge of a big organization or a big department, not necessarily big in terms of number of people always, but in terms of a number of responsibilities that you might handle. But now let's go. Now, this session, we're going to talk about customer service and retail stuff, the stuff that we deal with every day. I think you both asked for it and it's more relevant, so it'll be more fun to go through this. We want to talk about sales. Let's talk about sales a little bit. You have the facilitator guide, and that's a very good and comprehensive training that we do when it comes to sales and sales training. And some of us are naturally good when it comes to sales, and other people may be a little bit more shy when it comes to sales. But what sales is really is a series of things that you do that leads to a sale. Obviously, we can slice it up, break it down, and kind of work and improve every slice of that process. So, we improve on that, on every part of it, whether it's the greeting, the energy, your body language. All these things lead to transactions being closed. In the world, you have big ticket sales like selling a house as a realtor, and then you have small ticket sales, buying a coffee. They're all the same process. It's just that customer journey becomes shorter. So everybody, if you buy a house, you go through the same customer journey. If you're buying a supercar, for example, hopefully in the future, one day, or you decide to buy a Ferrari, that's a customer journey. You go through a customer journey to get to a point that make that decision and buy that car. And that salesperson has a lot to do with that journey and all the stuff behind the scene with marketing, branding, all that stuff that leads to customer journey. But when it comes to retail, and in particular own stores, I am a fan of selling by not selling. Can anyone tell me what that means?
Say it's when you just talk about the product, but without saying like you need to buy it. It's when you are in love with it, and people want to have the product just because you say like all the good things about it and all the benefits you get from it. It can be just a product or a service or whatever, but not telling like, okay, you need to buy it, but people want it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Like, instead of selling it, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this. You come from a point of compassion and care and genuine interest in solving a problem for a customer, right? I have one of my friends, he sells software and he makes a lot of money. These softwares are expensive. It could go up to $500,000 when he closes a deal. And he works for Autodesk. It's a massive multi-billion-dollar company. They sell software to all engineers and big projects, any engineering project, you name it, bridges, highways, buildings, all of that. And he's one of the top salespeople in Western Canada. And when I talked to him, I said, what do you do? How do you sell? Like, why are you the top salesperson in BC? And he said, I just don't sell. I try not to sell. Like, there's a lot of customers I say, this is not a right fit for you, right? All I do is try to listen to their problem and try to fit a solution for their problem. That's all I do. Listen, ask questions, genuinely become interested in what they do, what their problem is, what they're trying to resolve, and genuinely offer them a solution. Say, listen, this is your problem. This is how much money you're losing because of this problem. And here is the solution that I have that could solve, save you this much money, right? If you want, take it. Otherwise, we'll be friends, maybe another opportunity. And that's the way he sells it. That's the way he carries himself. His personality, like inside, internally, his mindset is just helping, like not selling. Which is kind of, it's not the first thing everybody thinks about when they get into a sales position. When you think about sales, you think of a used car salesperson that, comes to you, like walks up to you as soon as you walk into a used car dealership, and they're just trying to sell you a car. So that's not a good way of selling. Maybe it used to be back in the days when selling just started, but it's not anymore. People want to be, taken care of. They want to feel good about a purchase. Okay, good. So that brings me to the next point when it comes to sales and customer service. And that's the level of your energy. Have you ever walked into a store and the salesperson or whoever was there had this high energy, hello, how's your day, big smile, just that the amount of energy that you got from that person just made you smile. Have you ever had that experience? Have you ever been to a store now where you walk in and the person there is, hey, yeah, what do you need? What do you want? It's just a low energy. That energy just, the energy you get from that person as soon as you walk in, it kind of drains you too. Like you get into, even if you're in a good mood, your mood changes in a negative way. So we always transfer energy. So if you go to a social event, right? Next time, try that at your next cocktail party. Go up to someone who's just standing there with a high pitch, high level of energy and see what happens to that person. Immediately they smile. Immediately they become more high energy versus go up to a group with the highest amount of energy and just be a downer and be like, had a terrible day today. Everybody's energy is going to drop, right? So same thing in the store. The days that you find it in yourself to have that high level of energy, or when you notice in your staff that they have that high level of energy, or you give them, in fact, that level of energy, those days they're going to do much better, right? They're going to pass on that energy. Edita, did you want to say something? I think you always have great energy. So did you want to add to that? How do you do it?
Yeah, hi. When the customer comes to the store, it's always feels welcome.
Yeah.
Right? That's the image you want to portray. You want to see them, you are happy to see them. That's
yes.
Want to come up, that's my approach.
So you're thinking of it as like a hospitality. They're coming in, they're welcome to come in. So they need, like, they want that welcome energy. They deserve that welcome energy. Versus you go to some retail stores and they're thinking, why is this customer here? Like, I don't want to see anyone right now, right? Please leave. They don't tell you that, but they're thinking it and you can pick it up.
Absolutely. But
right?
What our job is, I think, it's just shopping. It's a whole experience. It's not just come and buy a product and leave. You gotta there's a lot of things coming into shopping. So the first your connection, first eye to eye look. It's if you give them a bad impression, they will try to buy or maybe not and leave. If they don't have that great experience, there is a low success for actually, for them to come back and shop. And
you nailed it. That's it. It's the experience. You're creating that experience. The experience starts with you in your mind and in your mindset. You, with your high energy, that's the high energy you're passing on to your staff, to your teammates, and they pass it on to the customer. So, and then that's an experience. That's part of that experience. Have the best products ever, right? And have a terrible experience. What are the chances of that customer coming back?
very slim.
It's much less. Or what are the chances of them buying more than they came in for?
Absolutely.
Probably not. They pick up whatever they need and leave and don't look forward to coming back again. Versus when they come in, face your high energy, create that emotional connection, and they can't wait to come back. Then it doesn't even matter how much. They don't even think about how much they spend. They think about, maybe even don't think about it, subconsciously know that they want to come in, say hi to. That's beautiful. Adele, you're pretty good at that stuff too. What do you think with the energy?
I think just what you said earlier about how other people react to your energy. I think just a while ago, just not even doing sales, just in personal life, I noticed that it's easier to have a good relationship with someone when you have a nice energy, So
Absolutely.
I think I just took that with me to sales for sure, and it helps for sure.
100%. Okay. There's a little bit of sprinkles of this in our facilitator's guide. We will go through that at some point, or you should go through that once in a while with your team, or when you do a training, pay attention to these things. Now, let's talk about some conversation starters. I know most of you don't have a problem starting conversation with customers, right? But let's break down that interaction, right? When somebody walks in, has anyone had any awkward greetings? Like, what makes a greeting with a customer awkward? Zaid, any awkward starters?
I feel like the most awkward greetings are with like reserved customers that don't want to talk to you that much, and you're trying to be friendly, and they just give you the back. It's always awkward. Like you just gotta give them their space. They show you with their body language.
That's great. Yeah, exactly. So there are some people, they're less than average. There are some people that just either they're having a bad day or just don't want to talk to anyone. Honestly, I am like that sometimes. I just want to go into a store, grab what I need, and get out of there sometimes. Just tired, had a long day, maybe had a fight with my laptop or whatever. And then I just don't want to talk to anyone. Go in, come out. It happens. Nothing to do with you, nothing to do with the store or product or any of that. They just want to come and get up. We do our job. Hello, how are you? High energy. That's all you can do. Think about retail traditionally, like maybe go back 800 years, 1,000 years back in human history, because retail is as old as human beings. There's always been retail. Think about how it was structured in small villages, or small communities. People would go in and they would know who they're talking to. They would know the owner of the store, and everybody knew, like the retail guy, like the person there, he knew everything about everybody because they would just come in. It was a community. It was a place for people to talk to each other, especially if it was a restaurant or a cafe or something. People would just come in and share, right? We lack that today. We don't have that in our communities because it's just the way everything is. Bigger stores. People don't know each other. People don't have time for this. There's just too many people. But there is a natural, beautiful thing about that too, where somebody comes in and tries to, or they share what they're going through, right? I mean, you can't handle all of Burnaby if they come in and, you know, talk to you. But that goes to show your positive energy, your openness. Because if you were like this, don't talk to me, then obviously they wouldn't come in and try to have a conversation with you. So there is good things about it, and there is obviously when it gets awkward and it's too much, and or gets sad or any of that. Good point. One thing that I see sometimes that's awkward is asking certain questions. And this one is tricky because some people do it well and other people are not really good at doing it. For example, the question, what brings you in today? Right? Some people can ask that really well and then follow up if it doesn't go anywhere. And then sometimes the customer says, I don't know what the answer is to that question, right? That's a tough question. I don't know why I'm here. Now I'm on the spot, right? Having to answer what brings me in today. I don't know. Like I'm just here to buy nuts, right? So that those questions could be difficult sometimes for some people to answer. So if you're training your staff and they're beginners, right? Or they're not particularly super confident on the floor, reserve those questions for yourself or more advanced, and can actually have a follow-up conversation, can actually observe if that question was awkward for the customer, following it up. What brings you in today? Customer goes like, you don't know. And then you go, we got some roasted fresh nuts here, try it, you know? It's more advanced level. You need to pick up that what the effect of what you asked quickly and then be able to resolve an awkward situation. Whereas if somebody's a beginner on the floor, they could just ask, hey, how are you? Here's a new sample, you know, make the conversation more simple. If you see your staff struggling with, if you notice awkward interactions, yeah, with your staff, then that means you can give them some help. You can give them some starters. Hey, use this instead of saying what brings you in today. I want you to try this today. Say, hey, how are you? Welcome to Ayoub's. Here's a sample of our fresh roasted cashews. I want all of you today, or I want you, John, to try the script I give you today for every customer. And then they practice that, and then you give them more stuff, and then they practice that. And you could do that yourself too. Just test and try different starters and different openers and see what happens. Now, let's talk about negative sentences or negative sentiments. Like, I can't, we don't have, or we wouldn't, or that's not something we do. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Or somebody asks and they request something and say, sorry, that's just not something we do. There's one of these hotels that wrote a book on this. And when you go to this hotel and customer asks anything or they have any problem, these guys jumping and solve it. They don't have no in their vocabulary. They go like, yes, we can. What's the problem? That's their motto. Yes, absolutely. Now tell me the problem. Right? And that's the lens they look at customer service. Now, obviously, we have limitations. If somebody tells you, hey, can you come change my tire? I have a flat tire and you've never changed a tire, then that's outside of the scope of what you need to do. But within the scope of the store, we try to use positive language, and you say use positive sentencing and say try to resolve a customer's problem. Hence, we have the customer service that we return policy that we have. If somebody brings something back, no question asked, we take it back. Now, let's go to body language. So posture, kind of lean back, not leaning on anything. You know, this is negative. This is a negative posture. You see your staff doing that, tell them that's, you know, stop, right? This is better where you put your hands on the back or on the side. This positive. Some of us need to practice because we've got the habit of just doing this all the time, right? And you know what it is with body language, it works both ways, right? Try in a regular conversation with your partner or your friend, you're having fun, having a fun part of a conversation, try and doing this, right? Immediately your mood changes, right? And their mood changes, right? Because this is a closed negative body language. Or instead, in a negative situation, open up, consciously think about your posture, your body language, right? For example, there's books on body language. I've read multiple books on body language. It's very good to read it and know it because you get some of the cues as to what the conversation, what they're thinking. And when you're talking to customers, the open conversation, showing you the palm of your hands, this means honesty. When you talk like this, there's honesty there. And hiding it could signal, right, that you're hiding something. It's very subtle. 100 other things too. You know, if you want, we could do a whole day on body language. It's very interesting too. Okay. And the other part of body language is how far you're standing between customers, right? If I'm standing so close to a customer and I'm spitting in their face, then that's just too close, right? You want some distance. You want a good amount of distance. And all of you here are very good at this, but when you're training your staff, you got to be conscious of it. Hey, make sure this is how you stand. Keep this distance. And my favorite way of selling when I'm in a store, I don't know if any of you have seen me sell, I am walking around the store. I'm not staying in one spot because of another point that I'm going to mention later. Walking around the store, try to talk to multiple customers, give samples, go, and that kind of goes back to selling without selling. Here's a sample, take this. I go, you know, fix some packaging. I go another place, come back. Hey, try this other thing. Oh, you're interested in this product? This is where it comes from. Here's a fun fact. Boom, I'm gone again. But I got my eyes on the customer, right? I know what they're doing, but I'm not like following them everywhere because that could lead them into feeling pressured or feeling watched, right? And it could have some negative for some people. Okay. All right, sampling. And this isn't, you know, specific to our stores. We do a lot of that. Sampling, we do a little bit of sampling. Some try to sample a lot of things. My method, I just want to share my method. There's no right or wrong. My method is I always do a handful of products that I like and I know they're top sellers. I don't go into weird stuff like Pomelo. Probably 1 out of 10 people are gonna like Pomelo, right? So I always do lime and saffron cashews. I always, like in the past, I was training everybody to way back in the days. I said, okay, try to analyze the customer and understand what they want, whether they want this category or they're looking at this other category and then decide what to sample. Simple. Cashews every time. This is being fresh roasted today. Here's a sample. You give them one, move on to another thing. They turn around, grab the next one. Maybe it's your fresh cookie. Oh, fresh cookies out of the like that you just got. Those are really good. Here's a cookie. And I always have 1 or 2 sentences about that product that I tell them. Cashews, freshly roasted lime and saffron, our signature recipe. Bakery, we do our bakery ourselves. There's no additives, there's no extra stuff, and it's not too sweet. If I do a dried fruit, this is natural, no additives. That's it. A handful of products that I like, that I could get behind, and that I know people like. Okay, good. We don't have a whole lot of time. Do you guys want to talk about upsell and cross-sell, or challenging customers? Which one? Upsell, cross-sell?
Yes.
Yeah. Challenging customers? That's equal, was it? Okay, quickly talk about both. You know, if you go through all that process, high energy, good body language, movement in the store, you know what you need to have as manager, you need to have movement in the store, right? If you don't have customers, the best people who run stores, they're always moving in the store. That creates some level of energy in the store. Have you ever walked into a retail store where everybody's just sitting? Nothing's happening in the store? I don't know what it is, but when I walk into a store like that, it just gives a vibe of nobody is here, like nothing's happening here, like there is zero action here, so there's got to be something wrong. Like subconsciously, I'm not buying a whole lot from these people. In a store with a whole lot of action, you're doing the packaging, you're fixing the shelf, there's one customer here, or maybe there's no customer, there is action happening. While you're paying attention to the customer, you don't do the actions instead of paying attention to the customer. You have all these moving parts, but the customer is still important. So you do all these things right, and then you get into the upsell and cross-sell. And with upsell, it happens at the counter. Again, you don't have a whole lot of time. You don't have a whole lot of interaction. Sample, one sentence, right? Hey, we have this fresh bakery. Here's a sample. Here's the price. That's it. And you do this before you do the transaction, but you don't stop. The best way to do it, if you're doing your work, hey, like you ring one product in, you give a sample. Hey, by the way, I have this Turkish delight today for sampling. What do you think? Right? Next one. Next one. Hey, by the way, have you ever tried our jam cookies? Next, next, next. You know, that always works better instead of just leaving the sample on the table, right? A little bit of a sales pitch, 2-sentence sales pitch. Hey, here's our jam cookie. By the way, we don't use any additives in the jam. That's unlike anybody else's jam cookie. Yeah. And with cross sales, the way I do cross sales, again, I used to super analyze it, say, okay, customers buying this, they're buying mulberry, they probably love figs, probably apple. Look, no, I always do go back to my 4 or 5 products. They come in for one product, all of a sudden I'm giving something, just comes out of the roaster, grab a scoop, run around the store and give samples to everybody. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody wants to buy that product, right? That's how you do upsell. Yeah. I'll leave challenging customers for next time. There is a lot to talk about there. Challenging customers. So we'll give it some more time for next time. Okay. So let me know things that you think we should do. Let me know. And we go through them. Yeah. Great. All right. You all have a good day. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.